and welcome to Digital Spy's spoiler-filled discussion of Joker. So seriously, if you haven't watched the film yet, we're about to spoil the hell out of the ending. So look away now and go and watch our spoiler-free review instead.
You don't listen, do you?
Still with us? Great. If you like what you see, don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel below for more of our video content. Obviously, a lot happens to Arthur in this film. He's beaten up, he's on the floor for quite a lot of the running time, but it feels like one of the pivotal moments that finally sets him on that path, that unstoppable path to become the Joker, is when he's in Sophie's apartment and we all realise that every single happy scene we've seen with them, like her going to the stand-up comedy with him, then her supporting him in the hospital for his mum, was all in his head.
Yep.
How did you feel that reveal was handled? Did it contextualise? Because I know you were saying you were disappointed with Zazie Beetz' lack of a role and lack of definition really in this film.
Yeah.
Do you feel that helps at all?
I mean, just to make the point, I didn't even realize her name was Sophie. That was a discovery that was just made. So, you know, that says a lot about how her character relates also to Arthur. He never addresses her by name for the audience to understand that, which makes sense if she's in his head.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't do that, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the scene itself I thought was quite good because as an audience member, I didn't see that coming personally. So the reveal was quite good, and you really get the sense of fear in her when there's this strange man in her apartment when she's got a daughter. It didn't help to relieve that feeling of disappointment in me that the character didn't still have more development.
Yeah. I do sort of I get the idea of where they're coming from, because obviously literally the only other time we see Arthur meet Sophie that we assume is real is when they meet in the elevator and she makes a little gesture joking about how terrible it is. So it feels like obviously in his head he wouldn't have character development. The only thing he would know about her is that he's into me, so let's do this. So it feels like that lack of character development is fine, but it just feels she gets one scene at the end where you actually see the real Sophie, and then it's left completely ambiguous as well. Like he makes a little gesture of a gun pointed to his head. Do you feel he killed her and her daughter?
You know, I don't think so, and the reason I don't think so is because when you look back at the people that Joker has killed, he kills kind of indiscriminately, but also in the scene in his apartment with Randall and Gary, he lets Gary live because Gary, he says to him, you've been nice to me.
Yeah.
So I think there hasn't been enough interaction in real life between Sophie and Arthur for him to quote-unquote justify killing her and her daughter.
True.
That being said, he's Joker and he's insane, so...
And also, playing devil's advocate, if she's not horrible to him in that scene, like she acts as like you would if you saw like some rando just sitting casually in your apartment, but he might view that as a rejection,
right.
And there's that kind of thing because he's like, oh, I thought we were onto something and all that kind of stuff. So that's the thing that puts me on edge, that thinks that maybe he did, and like that killing was what switches him completely.
I think it just it's left ambiguous as to whether he knows it's in his head.
True.
So I think that's the crux of it, which we'll never really know.
The other thing in the film that's left a little bit ambiguous and for you to make your own mind up about is the fact that is Arthur Thomas Wayne's son? It all comes up in a letter that Arthur reads from Penny that says, your son and I need help, to Thomas Wayne. But then it's both, Thomas denies it, obviously, and Alfred, or what we assume is Alfred because he's Bruce's butler and helper, says that his mum was delusional, and then you see Arthur go and realise that's the truth. But then at the end you get Arthur looking at a photo of younger Penny, and on the back it's got I love your smile, TW, which can only be Thomas Wayne. So how do you feel about that reveal, and is it actually true? What happens? Who knows?
I have a lot of feelings about that reveal. Mostly
this is exactly what we're here for.
For all of the feelings. Women's delusion is often used to disempower them, right? So you look at throughout the history and literature, and both in real life and, you know, that's where we have the word hysterical. That literally comes from womb. So all of that to say, I think probably he is, and that's just my gut feeling and wanting her not to actually be delusional, which is definitely a biased opinion. However, I also wonder, why would a woman who has narcissistic personality disorder and delusional disorders, how did she end up adopting a child? Like, where are the checks and balances in place if she doesn't have a partner? I mean, obviously single women do adopt in the real world. In Gotham City world, I don't know. How does that work? Are there any kind of balances and checks and
Yeah.
you know,
'Cause that's-
psychological evaluations.
Yeah, that's the other thing that Thomas tells Arthur that he was adopted, and
Right.
he was adopted while Penny was working for Thomas Wayne. So the idea of that could be that yes, he is Thomas's illegitimate son, and they want to change like his background. So it's like he adopts Arthur, like Penny adopts Arthur through that. So that could be one way about it, but it's just another thing about the film that it feels like trying to distance itself as far away as possible from like DC verse. It just feels a very real life issue and a way of making Thomas Wayne a bit more of Arthur's target, I suppose, because Arthur always is after the rich and thing, and Thomas Wayne is obviously the epitome of that in Gotham City.
I guess
so it feels like adding a personal connection.
Yeah,
to
it's
it.
that justification that you know is part of the movie is why does he kill the people he kills, and by going after Thomas Wayne, by giving him this personal connection, it makes the audience, both in Gotham City and as viewers, empathize with Joker's, Arthur's search for Thomas, and then the anger that he feels when he's rebuffed by Thomas and when his worldview is challenged. And that's what the movie's about, really, is about Arthur's worldview and his visions of himself being challenged by the various people in his life, from his neighbor to his father, whether we know that that's true or not, to Murray, to his own mother, all of these things. And I think it puts a lot of the responsibility for Joker's actions on these other external forces, which I don't think is 100% fair or genuine or true, but that doesn't detract from the performance. But
true. So as a whole, Joker is quite separate to DC. Todd Phillips has said that he wanted to set it in the 1980s to separate it completely from the was DC continuity, and that's why you can have Arthur Fleck as Joker and you can have Jared Leto's Joker as well in the same universe. But as we're talking about Thomas Wayne, there is a major connection in the fact that during the film's climactic riots, we see Thomas and Martha Wayne gunned down outside of a theatre, or cinema, we assume, much like in classic DC lore, while Bruce Wayne watches on, distraught at the death of his parents. And there's an extra little bit, Martha's beads come off of her necklace, like they do at the start of Batman v Superman as well, so it's a connection to that kind of Zack Snyder world as well. Was there much? Did you expect more DC stuff? Did you not like the death of the Waynes, but did you feel it fit? Or
I loved the death of the Waynes.
Did it really
Don't
feel
take
like...
that out of context. No, I liked it in the sense because I felt like it would have been really foolish of him not to give a little nod, because the character is so iconic because of the Batman universe that we've all grown up with, that generations have grown up with. So I think, yes, it was good that it was set in the 80s and it gave a bit of distance, and so we can accept that there's all these kind of different Joker universes out there. But I think to wholly distance yourself from the thing that gave Joker such a cultural importance would have been a bit cheeky.
Yeah.
I thought it was good.
Yeah, you don't feel it just comes out, because for me it did sort of feel like it came out
of left field a little bit?
Yeah, just kind of out of nowhere. It's just like, oh yeah, we know this moment happened, and it's pretty much one of the only times in the film we actually pan away from Arthur.
Joker. Yeah.
It just felt like it's well shot and all that kind of stuff. But it just kind of felt a little bit kind of, oh, did you see what we did here? Yeah, we've seen this several times on screen. We don't need to see it again. We know what happens. Like,
I mean, maybe it's that I'm not as invested in the world of DC, so for me, that was like a nice little.
In the final act of Joker, Arthur finally completes his transformation into Joker while he's on Murray Franklin's live chat show, where he admits to killing Wayne Enterprise employees that we saw earlier in the film, and also he does a little thing of shooting Murray dead live on TV. So obviously the police arrest him, and as he's being taken from the thing while riots take place across Gotham City, something happens that leaves a little bit of a mixed message we both found, didn't we?
Yeah, so as he's being driven in the cop car to the police station, the car is T-boned by an ambulance, and he is lifted out of the car by some of the people who are rioting, and he's laid out on the hood of the car, and then he gets up and he's surrounded by a crowd of people in Joker masks and face paint who are all cheering him, as they now know that he's the one who instigated the kind of riot atmosphere, or that tipping point, by killing these guys in the subway car. He admits to it. And he dances for the crowd. And it was definitely a divisive moment, I think, because as an audience watching the movie, you know that Joker is a killer and he kills indiscriminately and he's all about the violence.
Yeah,
and
we've seen him do all
bloodlust.
these things. We've seen him chase down people, kill them in cold blood when there's
Smash
no
their
danger to him
faces into
anymore.
door frames.
Yeah, put what was it, a pen in some
Scissors.
in someone's eye.
Yep. So
you know as an audience that he's a psychopath. But this moment, he's literally held up
Yep.
by the crowd, who, after he's created this whole thing that because they know a clown killed someone on the subway, and because he admits it, he is held up as a sort of anti-hero, which is kind of what Todd Phillips and also any other official statement we've had about the film said. He's not held up as a hero, and yes, he's not as the audience, but whether it's a good thing that in the world of Gotham City, he is sort of.
He definitely becomes the face of this revolution against the elite and the ruling classes and all of that. And he becomes a representation for the people who are left behind by society. And earlier in the film, when he's speaking to his social worker and she reveals that they're cutting the services, she says to him, they don't care about people like you and they don't care about people like me. So so Todd Phillips is making this parallel between this social worker and Joker. And so he's putting them all on this even playing field. And for the audience, we are aware that that's not the case, but within the world of Gotham City, he definitely becomes this kind of vigilante folk hero for igniting that flashpoint that sets these riots ablaze.
Yeah, and I think the main issue that I had with it, when it comes to his message, is that at any other time there's not really enough of the other side. Like when he's giving out his viewpoint on the Murray Franklin show, it talks about like being a mentally ill person and being let down by society before he kills Murray. Murray for a bit says, oh, you're talking about your self-pity and all that kind of stuff, and like trying to give that opposite side of maybe, like Arthur's just actually mad and hasn't been let down by society and that's just what he feels. But there's not enough of that other side. Like you can create a discussion, but I feel you need to have that discussion in the film as well. It's okay to have it in the real world and we can have this discussion and it's valid, but you need the film to have a message as well, and it feels like the only message is society's terrible, this is what happens when you let down someone like Arthur who is mentally ill and is on his medications, and you cut his medications and finds himself.
It definitely puts the responsibility for Joker's behaviors with the government and the wealthy people for cutting these services and everything like that.
So do you feel that if they had that other side of the discussion and maybe people who were showing Arthur for who he truly is in Gotham City, do you feel that would have solved it a little bit better?
Yeah, I do. And I think that could have been done with Sophie as well.
Yeah.
I feel like that it was a lost opportunity there, and I think that would have made the movie feel more balanced as a viewer, for sure.
So that's what we thought. Is there something we didn't discuss that you feel we need to? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a like and subscribe to our channel below for more of our video content. Thanks. Bye.